So Hot Takes, the hottest sports betting podcast on the planet.
I'm Sam.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Sean.
Welcome back to Not So Hot Takes. Fellas, it's getting cold outside, at least in Pennsylvania. I don't know about Ohio. It's got to be cold there.
outside.
High at 24 today.
Oh,
Yikes.
That's pretty high.
It's chilly.
We're getting to see some fun games. We had a nice Bills game in the snow. Beautiful game. We're seeing a lot of good games. A lot of crazy games, too. A lot of letdowns as well, you could say. Our boy Jameis Winston threw 2 touchdowns to the Buccaneers, but we'll get into that.
Threw for 497 though.
Yeah, but
Browns record.
He had 6 touchdowns and 4 of them were to his own team.
Sounds like what you'd expect from Jameis Winston.
Yeah. But I'll go through a quick recap, so we're not taking too much of your time. Miami plus 3.5 loss. We're not going to talk about that one. Raiders plus 12.5. That was the freest thing of all time. The Kansas City needs a wake up call. I think they're frauds. Cincinnati minus 3. Just shoot me in the face.
Shoot you in the face.
And Sean. Sean will talk about it in his little segment, but this is all I'm gonna say is this is the biggest not his fault moment of all time, of all time. New England money line lost. AR and the Colts are psychopaths. They convert 3 4th downs driving down with time expiring to score a touchdown. You could tie it, but they're saying no. Let's go for 2, and they got it. Incredible. Los Angeles Rams minus 2.5, which was also my mortal. Doubled up on it. Free. So free. We saw it coming from a mile away. Rams are clearly the better team. Tampa Bay minus 6. Holy smokes. Go into overtime against the future of the Panthers, Bryce Young, and somehow pull it out. All the Panthers had to do was kick a field goal, and they fumbled. Incredible. Chargers, money line. Give me the W. Please. Give me the W. Herbert, I love you. I love you all the time. And then the teaser, only missed one teaser, but this one was a win. To wrap up the week, NFL not bad. 5-4. Not a terrible week, but I'll turn it over to Luke here so we can hear about his week.
Yeah, went 5-3 this week. Dolphins plus 3.5. Again, we don't have to talk about that one. Raiders plus 12.5. The Chiefs cannot keep getting away with this. They can't
keep getting away with
keep getting away with this.
They made a deal with the devil. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, they might be the devil.
Yeah. Rams, New Orleans, under 49.5. Again, I don't know what that line was doing at 49.5. I had no business being 49.5 points. I'm glad we lost. We should just continue to lose as much as possible. So rip Taysom Hill. He doesn't deserve the injury that he got out for the season.
Jesus.
I just said he doesn't.
Prayers up.
I didn't say he deserves
Prayers.
I thought you were saying it was an easy way out of that terrible team.
No. I had Bucks minus 6. Also, is Bryce Young legit? I don't know what he did in those weeks that he was benched, but he made shit happen, and he's now Panthers are officially playing spoiler for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So
on that note, did you guys see that while he was benched, someone saw that on Rod Wave's Instagram story? He said, "Yo, Bryce Young, call me." And ever since he's been hooping. So they're saying Rod Wave saved Bryce Young's career.
I saw that.
It's gonna get down
today, I think. Giants in Dallas over 37.5. That was low-key free. I don't know why it was that free. I expected that to be one of my more sweaters of the week. But then I also had Tennessee, Washington under 45.5. And Washington was 2 points from covering that on their own. Didn't know that they could play on rookie mode. They scored 28 points before Tennessee had played 9 offensive snaps. So there was that. I had Baltimore Philly under 50.5. Is great game. Kind of 2 really good defenses, 2 really good offenses, but 2 really good defenses prevailed in that game. The exciting whites taking down Derrick Henry, and one of the exciting whites. That was insane. Then I had Denver Cleveland over 41.5 cash money. Didn't really have to sweat for that one. So It was fun to see. And I'm also gonna make my fantasy football shout of the week. I'm pissed about it, but I needed Denver Broncos defense to get 15 points by the grace of God, and they only got 12 because they let up 32 points. They had 2 touchdowns.
Oh
and
no!
couldn't get me 15 points.
Dude,
So,
wait. So you're saying you lost this week?
in fantasy,
Yeah.
yeah,
No!
Dude, this is the worst week ever, dude.
Dude,
we have 5 teams with a record of 5-7. All of us are playing for last place or the last 2 spots in the playoffs this week.
Dude, I'm gonna be stressed out all week thinking about
Insanity.
this. Hopefully, you make some good moves.
Insanity.
Dude, like I need updates, and by
Joe
updates
Greenwood,
I
I
mean
know you're
don't tell
listening
me.
to this. I'm gonna kick your ass on Sunday. It's gonna be over for you.
Are
Anyway.
those your picks for the week? I think you did. You miss
Those are-
Denver, Cleveland over?
No, he said.
No, I got that.
Yeah.
It was over 41.5. It was easy money.
Yeah. All right, I'll go through mine. I was the loser of the week. We'll get into that later. But I was 3-2 in NFL, and you might be asking, "Oh, 3-2. How'd you end up losing?" Just listen to the college episode. You'll see. All I'll say is that going into Sunday, I was 0-7 on the week. So that's about it. So
It's fun.
start on Thanksgiving. You can expect 2 losses. First of all, Giants plus 3.5. I don't think it was the worst bet in the world, but the Giants can't block. Like, they were getting after. Drew Lock didn't play well, and I think we talked about it like DeVito was playing on the pod because we recorded early like we are again this week. But I didn't think it would be that big of a drop-off, but I guess you got to take in the rust factor. Rust, not Russ, like not Russell Wilson. Very different factors nowadays, apparently. But yeah, the rust factor, and they were getting after Drew Lock. He was running for his life the entire game. So yeah, that lost. Next up was Miami plus 3.5 in the threesome. Our threesomes moved to like 1 and a lot on the year.
We just get smoked.
Our threesomes are Fade City so far. But Miami plus 3.5. They will never beat the allegations. That's really all there is to say. They'll never beat the bad cold team allegations. Tua was the least accurate I've seen him since the last time he played in below freezing weather. He was overthrowing like 10-yard curl routes. It was ugly. But we'll get into Sunday where I saved it. Went 3-0 on Sunday. Jacksonville plus 4. Stopped watching the game. Thought it was over. They backdoor covered with Mac Jones. I was legitimately in shock when I saw that they had covered that game. I chalked it up as a loss in my head. I might have even put it on the tracker at that point. But they cover the plus 4. Houston, good God, man. What is wrong with that offense? They got Nico Collins back, and they've gotten worse somehow. And he hasn't even played bad. I don't understand. CJ Stroud, what are we doing? Next up, Rams minus 2.5. Sam talked about it. They just were the better team than New Orleans. If you can't really get after Stafford, they're gonna be able to. I mean, they only put up 21, but it felt like they were kind of in control. If you can't get after Stafford, he's gonna pick you apart. That's really all there is to it. And then lastly, my mortal of the week was over 46.5 in Tampa Bay, Carolina. Sweat free, man. Definitely sweat free. Definitely wasn't a 51-yarder at the final bell to get to overtime and then needing it to score again in overtime just to hit the over. It was sweat free. Yeah, they had the ball, so they went down the field. Tampa Bay did with like 20 seconds left to kick that field goal.
They had 30 seconds when they got the kickoff, and then 11 seconds before they ran their first play. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, it was something weird.
And
And
then
then
threw a bomb and kicked the field goal.
so then they get the field goal, and it's sitting at 46 going into overtime. And this dude sitting right next to me texts, "Oh, overtime hit the over for Sean." I was so dead set on that game ending in a tie at 23-23 and not going over at that point. When they fumbled with like 4 minutes left, I was this close to texting you very mean things. That's all I'll say. But yeah, ended up 3 and
ended a tie.
yeah, ended up at 3-2. So not too bad on that aspect. If you want the bad stuff, listen to the other episode where I will cry.
Dude, and that's it for you, right? Your
That's
picks?
all. Yeah, that's it.
I am pissed. So I was talking to Sean. I was like, if we're all picking mortal locks, why wouldn't we just take each other's picks in the mortal lock and just put it in a little mini parlay for fun? All 3 of our mortal locks hit this week.
I
And
think
I'm
that
pretty
is
sure
the,
all
that
3
pretty
last week hit.
We've done
I
that
lost
pretty
this.
consistently. Yeah, me and Sean lost last week. Week 11, we all hit.
we would have been. It would be 2-2 at this point.
2-2, but at
Yeah.
what plus?
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
plus 500
Yeah,
odds.
no, it would
That would
be
be
pretty
money,
good.
dude.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a terrible idea, but
So statistically, don't bet on it this week.
yeah. Also, just to put it out there, unfortunately, our guest pickers pick lost as well.
They lost in the first game. Montgomery never scored.
So
Shout out Ben for the worst parlay of all time. Hold on, I put it in. I want to see how many losses.
unfortunately, guest pickers for not so hot takes 0-1. It's a rough start for the guests.
Yeah, maybe you could be the first winning
Yeah,
guest. on
we're
the
looking for
podcast.
winners, man. Just if you are available and ready with a pick, doesn't have to be 11 legs. It could be one, but we are more than willing to listen.
Where is it? Oh, here it is.
It's whatever says gigantic mega whale parlay that loses.
Okay, so there's 3 losses already. 4. So he went 10 for 14.
That no, isn't it? Yeah, but like half of them were like minus 400.
Well, I gotta get all the way back.
Yeah, one was like Lions money line.
One was
and
Chiefs
then-
money line.
Yeah, which was a
It was just like minus 800. We don't need to see it again.
I
It
can't
lost.
find it.
It lost.
Such a big
It
miss.
lost.
lost.
But well, let's hop in. Go ahead.
Let's get active, ladies, gentlemen,
JDs and Littleman.
JDs and Littleman. We're going into Detroit. Nice cold Thursday night at 8:15 p.m. We got Green Bay coming in there. Maybe the king of the cold. I don't know. Green Bay's catching 3.5 points. It's in a dome, though. I know it's in a dome. Look, the only thing that scares me about this game, I really like the over looking at it. Loves to throw interceptions. He tries to every game. Detroit has 14 interceptions as a defense right now. They've really capitalized on those. Detroit's scoring 32 points per game and Green Bay scoring 25. Okay, they're very identical, 360 to 390 pass yards or total yards in a game. Detroit, though, has been allowing a lot of yards per game, and their defense is banged up.
It's because they're up by like 40 in every game, and then they just let the offense just pass all over them. That's all they do. They just play prevent.
Yeah, but their defense it's banged up right now, and
Dear God.
the 51 doesn't look so big anymore. I don't know. I'm staying away, but I could be persuaded really easily into taking the over.
I also like the over. I didn't pick it, but the only thing that makes me feel like it's not the play is it's a situation how it was with the Ravens and the Eagles. 2 really good offenses, but you're also going to have some decent defenses going up, and I think that those defenses are going to prevail at some point. 51, you have to have a lot of things go right and a lot of drives go right, and I don't think in a divisional I know Thursday prime times have kind of been an oddball for not really hitting the unders, but makes me nervous. But if I were to bet anything, it'd be that one.
Yeah. It's a really interesting game. I go back and forth. It's tough. I think it's like the Lions have 18 players on IR right now. It's like the next highest has like 9, and I think like 15 of them are on defense. So like they're just beat to shreds on defense. It's so unbelievably tough to. It's unbelievably tough to try to say what you're going to get out of this team. I mean, they shut down Caleb Williams and the Bears offense to a pulp in the first half last week, and then they're I think Caleb threw for like 270 and 3 touchdowns in the second half, and they're one Matt Eberflus away from maybe even losing that game. Can we talk about that a little bit?
He should have been fired sooner.
I mean, he should have been fired probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. But like, what? I've never seen a team with the ball on the other side of the field with like 30 seconds left and run the entire clock out. How do you end the game running the clock out with the timeout? I've literally never seen anything like
Dude,
it.
they were on the 25, and then they rush a play.
They got
Caleb
sacked.
gets smoked, and then you don't call timeout.
Did you
That's
see?
it.
Did you see that?
Shit.
People think it was a QB draw on that play too, because you can see the tackles sprint up the field. So it actually looks like
I think they were in. I think they were in hurry up, and I saw this in another game. I can't remember what it was. It was Auburn. It was the Auburn game. I can remember because they went to hurry up and they didn't have the communication with the line. I think they had thought it was the line had gotten a different communication, and so they just kind of did their own deal.
maybe
But,
either.
yeah.
I mean, that's still very much on the coaching staff as well, because the communication
Right.
is a disaster.
I know Caleb's a rookie, but you don't think that he would at some point could have had the opportunity. I'm not saying it's his fault at all. I'm just looking at both sides of the coin.
Yeah, but him
I
throwing
think
down
it's
a
definitely Eberflus.
timeout, like being a
But
leader.
I'm saying, But I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it's like I feel like any vet QB kind of would at some point have been like, you think Patrick Mahomes was going to let that clock run out, or you think like no, they would have called a timeout and been like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, but even if you call a timeout from what? He was at the 42 when he got
Yeah,
sacked?
but you throw like a 8-yard out route or something, and you do like they had a minute on the clock.
Yeah.
By the time he got sacked, they literally ran a minute out on the clock.
no, it was like 30.
No,
it was like 35, but that's still
it was
egregious.
32 seconds when he got
That's
sacked.
still incredibly egregious. No, I understand, and I agree that it's like he did not have great situational awareness in that aspect. But at the same time, it's like this is your rookie quarterback, and you're expecting him to save you by doing something that is like one of your 3 jobs at that moment. Like Caleb's job is to go make the plays and win the game. Your job is to give him the right play and set him up situationally. Like that's literally it. And you failed to do it's your rookie quarterback. Like you're supposed to be the fallback option so that this doesn't happen. That's the thing that gets me.
Right.
But back to the game we're talking about, which doesn't involve Chicago. Yeah, I think it's an interesting spot for both. Detroit's injuries are just too much for me to say that I know what's going to happen in this game, though. I would have liked the under if Detroit didn't get like 4 people hurt, just because that's that divisional spot. But yeah, I'm just staying away.
All right. Well, none of us have a pick in that. That's crazy, but let's move.
Just enjoy that game, man.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game. Let's move into the Lincoln Financial Field. The Carolina Panthers are stepping into the arena with the Philadelphia Eagles. Plus 12 is what the Panthers are getting, and an over-under 46. I'll go right into it for you guys. I took the over at 46, which leads me into something Sean doesn't like, but we'll talk about it later. Philly is averaging, it's a weird stat. No, I'll tell you.
Oh.
Yeah. Philly is averaging, it's insane, 188.1 pass yards per game and 188.6 rush yards per game. Probably the most balanced offense of all time.
How many did Hurts have last week? It was like 112.
What, passing?
Yeah. I think it was like 116 or 112, which is insane because you to beat a team like the Ravens with 112 passes.
Right.
Good schemes. I mean, Kellen Moore is a genius.
I think it's just probably good running back and good rushing quarterback.
Right. But Carolina allows 392 total offensive yards a game. They just get mollywopped. Even though Bryce Young looks good, that's why I'm not touching the spread. I think this game is they're going to score. The Eagles need to score how many for me? 30 for the Panthers to score 17. I think that's 100% viable. Philly has 14 forced turnovers, so they might get the ball in a good position. I feel great about it. Over 46, and I'll say it right now. I think Jalen Hurts is an MVP candidate.
Okay. Now I'm not even going to entertain that.
Well, can I
I'm
give you
not gonna
statistics?
entertain that.
No.
I don't care.
No,
about your
he's not even the most
statistics.
valuable player on his own team. He's arguably
Yeah,
third.
he's-
I would argue that AJ Brown is more valuable than Jalen
Okay,
Hurts.
can we just do a quick QB1 and a QB2? Really quick.
Sure.
Just really fast. Okay. QB1, 68.4 completion rate, 2,494 yards, 485 rushing, 26 total TDs, 101.8 PR. Okay. Fine. QBB, 64.6 completion rate, 2,691 yards, 334 rushing, 26 total TDs, 100.3 PR. QBA is who?
Jalen Hurts.
Who is QBB?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Similar stats. Like
I would
Josh Allen's
argue-
minus
I would-
450 for MVP right now.
I would argue that it's very blatant that if Joe Burrow has been a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts has been all season.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that's
I
not
would-
close,
he
but
would-
that
it's
Burrow's
never
never going to get in the conversation at this point.
No, he's not. But I'm saying I promise you that that Joe Burrow will finish higher in MVP voting than Jalen Hurts will. I'm
He
just
should
telling
be
you.
in the running. I don't think
Joe
he should
Burrow's
be
having the best
6,000.
season of his life, and they're 4-8 or whatever.
Well, that's the whole
4-7.
organization. That's what I
It
said
doesn't
earlier.
matter. I'm saying if they were winning all the games that they were supposed to win, he would probably be either the front runner or in second for MVP.
He would be number one, no question. He's putting up Brady numbers this year. He's insane.
But we're not even talking about either of these teams. I have a pick in this game. I have Panthers plus 12.5. And the reason I have Panthers plus 12.5 is because Bryce Young, since coming back as a starter, they've covered almost every spread. They keep giving them too big of numbers. Are they the Panthers Yes, but they have just been covering and they've been battling in every game. This is the biggest letdown spot that the Eagles will have all season long after beating the Ravens, going to war. I know the Panthers just went to war and went to overtime, but going into the link, I feel like it's going to be a little lackadaisical, and I could see a Panthers backdoor cover at some point. I mean, the Eagles are exciting. They have a great defense, and but I just think it's too many points, and these points are just purely based off their record and not their play for the Panthers' sake.
What was the over/under at?
46 flat.
Which I don't like those numbers. That's a goofy number. I don't really like that number.
I think to me the spread is priced accordingly. Because I think it's that's really all I have to say about that. I think it's too good of a number to jump on either side. Bryce Young has been hooping. Like I'm very happy. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for my dynasty league where I have Bryce Young.
Shout out fantasy.
I'm happy for that's my fantasy shout out for the week. I'll leave it there. I'm 3-9, so we're tanking for Genty. He's been hooping. I do lean the over, like you said, Sam. That's something that I'm definitely going to be looking at very closely because 47 is that key number.
It was at 46.5 earlier, and it moved down to 46 flat.
I know that doesn't make me feel great. I'll be looking at it, but I'll probably just stay away if I'm being honest. Follow the Twitter. Follow Sam right there.
Follow Twitter. Anyways, we'll move on. The Cleveland Browns are back for more against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're in Pittsburgh. They said, hey, Cleveland Browns, here's 6.5 points. And the over-under is 44. I'm still scratching my head in this game to a game in a blizzard that went over 50 points. In a blizzard. I couldn't even see the players barely, and they scored over 50 points. And I'm still scratching my head saying, should I take Cleveland plus 6.5 when they got 6.5 against the Broncos and Jameis throws a late pick 6, which also was bullshit. I mean, they cover in that game if that guy just stays down and burns out the clock like he's supposed to, but he returns it for a touchdown. Winston is now, instead of he was 14-5-1 against the spread of 6 points or more. Now he's 14-6-1. I took the over 44. I think Jameis, he said the Lord's Prayer. Lord, deliver me from these interceptions. I think the Lord's going to intercede.
No, from his pick 6.
Yeah. I think the Lord's going to intercede, man. Jameis loves him. He loves Jameis. He loves all of us, but he loves Jameis. I think he's going to intercede for him. Tomlin's still going to find a way to put up at least 24 points in this game. I think it goes over. I think it goes over 50 again, to be honest. I took over.
Yeah, I don't have a pick in this game. I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to let this Pittsburgh team lose again to Cleveland, especially being back at home. I don't know if 6.5 is the right or wrong number necessarily. I think Najee Harris is getting into a good groove. I think you're going to see him have an all right day. I don't know. I'm staying away. The over, is enticing, but I feel like these AFC North matchups are goofy, and you just don't.
Did you see what Najee Harris said? He came out of the first quarter. Everybody thought he was hurt. He said he made his
he shit himself.
Yeah, he made his he ate his sister's bread pudding. Sister-in-law's banana pudding because I had too much. Dude, brother, it was 3 days later.
Yeah, they were like, what made you come out of the game? He's like, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was like, what? 3 days?
He shit himself. He 1,000% pooped his pants.
Oh, 100%. He probably took a big hit and was like, oh, jeez.
He pooped his pants.
No, I was watching. It's obviously the Bengals game. I was watching. He just pulled up.
Yeah.
And it didn't look. He wasn't grabbing his hammy or anything. Right. He just pulled out. It's like, oh damn, what happened? And then he's like, Thanksgiving. I was like, yeah, he definitely let it rip, man. It was more than a fart. I want to hit that 6.5 plus 6.5 button so bad.
I love it.
I want to hit it. I don't think I can pull myself to do it, but I want to hit it so bad. Because
you said Browns aren't banned in divisional matchups.
I know.
I thought it was except for divisional matchups.
Yeah, they're banned except
they're
for
not banned.
Yeah,
they're
not banned. I want to hit it so bad because I watched that Bengals Steelers game obviously, and I know Russ threw for 410, dude. I posted on the Twitter, 271 of those yards were after the catch, and it was like 190 of the yards were on passes in the middle of the field within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. So he threw. I've never seen a defense. I won't get into the Bengals that much yet. I'll save that for them. But I've never seen a defense give up so many yards on dump off passes to the running back over the middle of the field like I did in that game. It was the most infuriating thing I've ever seen, which makes me think that this line's inflated because of that offensive performance when it wasn't. To me, like, obviously, you can't be bad and put up 410 yards. I mean, Jameis put up 497, so some people would argue. But you can't be bad and put up 410 and 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, whatever. But it wasn't, to me, I was just not impressed by their offensive play. It wasn't
their showcase.
Yeah, it didn't tell me like, oh, this is a team that's going to be able to blow teams out the rest of the year. But at the same time, it's like, do I trust this Cleveland offense to put up really good passing numbers 3 weeks in a row? And do I trust them to keep it close against a team that really wants to beat them and is at home? I don't think I can pull myself to do it. I did pull myself to hit the under 44 button. And it's an ugly one because I know it went over. But when you think about it, dude, it was like 10-9. What was it? Like 10-7, 10-9 going into the fourth quarter. And it was like
it was 10.
It was something like, so this game was going to go under until madness broke loose. It's a divisional matchup. I think that Tomlin's going to come with a completely different defensive game plan. I think that they're going to try to run the ball, like you said, with Najee. He's getting himself into a groove. I think they're going to try to lean on the run game a little bit more. They're going to try to keep Jameis off the field and go up and force him to throw to come back and maybe make those mistakes that we've seen him make. And 44 gets you the key numbers of 44 and 43. It felt like the right spot for me. And it's a little bit of that, I forget what the word is. It's like when you bet something against what a lot of people will think. Like when you see a game go 50 whatever it was last time.
You're hedging the public. You're fading the public.
Yeah, I forget what the other word for is, but it pretty much is that. Like everyone's like, oh, this game went to 50 something last time. Sorry, I'm taking your thought a little bit, but like you don't want to. How often does the same thing happen twice in the betting world? Like it's not normally that easy. Like if it was that easy, this line would be up at like 49. It makes me think that this game, the divisional aspect and the coaching aspect, because these are two good coaches, two really good defensive coaches, makes me think that this game's going to go under. Maybe like it might even go to 43, but I don't think that this game's going to go over both of those key numbers.
Fair. I guess we'll move over. Actually, we'll move down to Tampa Bay. Las Vegas Raiders going into Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. They're getting 6.5 points. No, I look at my note sheet here, and I just have WTF. I really don't know. The Raiders have a little bit of a sleeper defense, but they've been kind of exposed the last 2 weeks. Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield looks good, but that guy loves throwing interceptions still. I'm looking at 46 right now, but I'll be just outright. I took it at 46.5 earlier. Tampa Bay and the Raiders both are 25th and 28th in the league for points against. These guys love giving up points. Okay, Tampa Bay average giving up 375.4 yards per game, 258 pass yards per game. I don't care who's playing quarterback for this Raiders team; they're going to be able to throw the ball. And Tampa Bay's always going to score. They always score. I would not be surprised if they score 30 points in this game as well. I really like Tampa Bay here, and they need to win. They have to keep on winning because they're on the cusp of playoffs. Not on the cusp, but they need to win or it's going to get hairy for them. I took over.
They're one Falcons fuck up away from taking the South.
Yeah, they want the South. So I took Tampa Bay over 46.5.
I don't have anything. I like the Tampa Bay minus 6.5. I think that they're going to, really catch a groove here, but I don't know. I don't know, so I'm staying away. I don't really care much for this game. Really, there's a lot better games that I care more about and rather spend my money on.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm staring at the 6.5 as well. Tampa Bay's defense is better against the run when you look at the advanced metrics. I mean, obviously that doesn't tell the entire story, but Vegas, we've said it all year, their stats have improved a little bit because Amir Abdullah is like somehow better than all the other running backs they've used all year. But their rushing offense is still the worst in the league. It's handily the worst in the league. Their offense is Brock Bowers. Let's just tell it how it is. He's their entire offense. Him and like 90% Brock Bowers, 10% Jacoby Myers.
He's a monster.
He's a beast. He doesn't care about his hairdo. He just cares about ball, man.
That's all he wants to do. He just wants to play ball with his boys.
You got to respect that. But yeah, I'm really staring at that -6.5 because Bucky Irving's playing out of his goddamn mind.
He's a monster. Also,
he's a baller. I wasn't a huge fan of his coming out of the draft, but damn, dude, he can ball. And then obviously Baker and that passing offense is always going to get theirs. I don't know. I'm not going to hit it yet. I'm staring at it though.
All right. While he stares at it, we'll move up a little bit to the left. We'll go to Minnesota. Atlanta flying in with the Falcons into Minnesota to play the Vikings. Atlanta's getting 5.5 here, and I'm really confused with this line, to be honest. I'm looking at their stats together. They have similar points per game. Minnesota 24.8, Atlanta 21.4, which is at 3 points is a big discrepancy. But similar yards per game, 344.6, that's Minnesota, 360.6, that's the Falcons. Turnovers, 19 for the Vikings, 17 for the Falcons. Points allowed. Minnesota lets up 18, and the Falcons let up 24. But the turnover force is the big one, I guess, that the defense is what's going to take for the Vikings home, like it always does. 24 forced turnovers, Atlanta only 11. Atlanta doesn't force that many turnovers. Their defense doesn't get really a lot of pressure. Sam Darnold has been looking better week to week. And I saw this line at 6 earlier. Now it's to 5.5, which makes me want to take it. But I really just don't want to trust this Viking. Somebody help me out. Luke, can you help me out?
I like Atlanta, but I get with trust because I like the Kirk Cousins revenge. I know it's not revenge really. He just signed with Atlanta, but it's a comeback game. But again, I think this Falcons defense is going to struggle. I think that Minnesota's going to have Aaron Jones is going to have a good day on the ground. I think that Jordan Addison is going to have because everybody's kind of figured out like just shut down Justin Jefferson and try to make do with what you got. And so I think Jordan Addison's going to have another good game. I just don't think Atlanta's defense is going to be able to keep up, and I don't think Atlanta's offense is good enough to compete with the points that I think Minnesota is going to do. If I was going to do anything, I'd bet the over at 45.5. I kind of had this game at like 47, but I don't know. I'm just going to preface this now. I said this in our group chat, but this entire slate, I feel like I could see just every side happening. Like I know there's some games where you're like, of course, some side is going to work out because somebody's going to cover, over under is going to hit. But I realistically see every situation playing out. So I just don't. There's a lot of these games I just don't see as clearly, and this is one of them.
This is one of my favorite picks. This was close to being my lock of the week, but I went with something else. I took Minnesota -5.5. If you watch Kirk Cousins play football last week, he looks like a shell of himself. He does.
Yeah, he looks bad.
His velo on his throws is like half. That pick six he threw on that out route to Darnell Mooney floated in the air for what felt like 70 seconds. The corner that pick sixed it almost ran past it because the ball was in the air for 80,000 seconds.
Same thing with that pick in the end zone.
Exactly. Oh, the pick in the end zone was one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen.
So bad.
That was like
he could have either could have ran it for another 5 or 6 yards, or he could have literally just flicked it to Bijan and let Bijan do what Bijan does. But he decided, I'm going to throw it into triple coverage and try to like floater it as if I'm coming off the baseline. And it was the worst thing I'd ever seen.
It was like horrifying. So that's why I went 5.5. If you remember a couple weeks ago when we had the Denver Atlanta game, this gives me the exact same vibes. But even beyond that, Minnesota's rush defense is the best in the league. So I think that this is a game where that Atlanta's not going to be able to run the ball that well. They're going to be behind the sticks. And Brian Flores loves to come after the quarterback. And Kirk Cousins, as we've said week upon week, as you definitely saw last week, can't move. He doesn't want to use his legs. He doesn't want to really push off his legs when he throws. It feels like a spot where they're going to get after Kirk and he's going to throw interceptions. And the only reason it's not my lock is because Atlanta looked so bad last week that it's like I don't know if I want
What
to.
if?
I'm not that confident to just straight up fade them again. But then again, they only lost by 4 because the Chargers did not look good. So it feels like a spot where maybe everything catches up to Atlanta and they just kind of get stomped into the ground. I have that free bet that I've talked about on Atlanta to win the South. It feels dead. Honestly, I think the only way that I could see them winning the South is putting Penix in at this point, to be honest. And
That was gonna be my next question: was how many more skids do you see before the realistic idea is, hey, what do we should do? Should we put Penix in?
one game. I think this is the game that you see. I think that they're going to come after him with exotic blitzes, and he's not going to be able to move. And I don't know if they bench him off of it, but I think this will be a game where that conversation hits you in the face. Like, you have to talk about this now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of want. I want to take Minnesota. I was ready to take them -6. Now they're 5.5. I might have to. It's just 2 it's better. Whatever. Let's go into Miami, where it's still nice and warm, so the Dolphins can get bailed out once again. The New York Jets, no pun intended, are flying in to Miami, and they're catching 6 points. Is 6 points enough? I think so. To be honest with you, I took Jets +6. I have no idea what's going to happen in this game. Both the defenses are pretty mediocre. Dolphins probably a little better, but they don't force a lot of turnovers. Okay, the Jets have forced 10. Dolphins have forced 11. They both allow 22. The one allows 22.3. The other one allows 22.2 points per game. This game is just going to be an all-time crapper. I don't know what I know it's a bounce back spot for the Dolphins after getting embarrassed in the cold once again. But I mean, the Jets. What do you do if you're the Jets? Realistically, what is the Jets' best course of action for next year? They have to let go of Rodgers, right?
100%.
They don't let him play.
They'll get a rental quarterback. They'll draft a quarterback, get a rental out of somebody for a year.
Who's your rental
and
quarterback?
then
Anyone.
Jameis Winston. I know Sam Darnold's in the conversation.
You don't think Winston's going to start for the Browns next year?
I mean,
There's-
now if Deshaun's healthy and if he's on contract, I don't see them doing it.
Fair point.
Then they might give him Deshaun then.
No one's taking Deshaun, man.
No one's gonna pick up his contract.
Dude, you could take anyone, man. I'd take Drew Lock. Paying Drew Lock,
Aiden O'Connell.
like
$2 million.
Minshew, like,
Yeah, somebody.
but you're betting on him this week.
I am. I think this is going to be one of those random games that they shouldn't win. They might come out and either win or make it super, super hairy. I mean, they just played Seattle. Seattle's not a bad team by any means, and they kept it within.
They only
points.
played a good game for half a game. It was really just a first quarter.
Yeah, but-
and it was the best first quarter the Jets have probably had in recent history.
Yeah,
they
okay,
they
then
close
after
as
that, it was-
favorites too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, if they can keep it close to Seattle, I think Seattle's better than the Dolphins. So, and look, Hill
I'm
just.
gonna say
I mean, Hill's out for the year, is he not? I thought Hill got hurt.
who?
Tyreek, no.
He's fine.
Are you talking about? Do you think Taysom Hill?
No.
Did you see T
Yeah,
Hill and you
you
thought
probably
Taysom
saw
Hill?
T Hill.
It's Taysom Hill.
Tyreek
out for
Hill's
the
fine.
rest of
I'm
the
like
year.
100% sure.
He is fine. There's
Oh,
nothing
okay,
wrong
he's
with
fine.
Tyreek Hill.
I don't know why I thought.
Well, he has that injury from like when the cops hit him that he's like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
waiting to have
sorry.
surgery, but I don't.
Yeah.
He's,
His ego's hurt.
Yeah.
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 My mortal lock is in this game, so I'm gonna
boy.
hold off. Oh
um,
boy.
I am paying to watch the Jets' funeral in this game. It feels like the end of the road. They've been favored the last 3 weeks. They're 0-3, and they're obviously 0-3 against the spread in those games. It felt like they beat Houston in that Thursday game that we were at. Maybe we got to go back, or else they're never going to win again. It feels like they've given up, and this feels like the time where Miami just puts them out of their misery. This team doesn't feel bought in. Maybe like Garrett Wilson, but it feels more like a personal, like I'm getting mine. Not even like it doesn't feel like there's camaraderie. It doesn't feel like there's a team aspect here. It feels like this is a point where Miami walks in and stomps them out, say, we are still in this race. And plus they have the rest advantage because they played on Thanksgiving and they got to come home. They've been waiting for the Jets to come. The Jets have been home for 2 weeks and they lost both games, and now they go on the road to Miami. You really think they're going to be motivated to try to win this game? I just don't see it as a 3-9 team. Plus, Tua, we talked about, I forget the actual exact stat, but Tua covers these large spreads well, especially at home. I think he'll be motivated to come off that cold game and I know it's not going to change any narrative because it's not going to be 20 degrees, but I think he'll be motivated to show up and show out. And I think the motivation angle is very strongly leaning towards one side. The spot feels too good to pass up, especially with the rest advantage.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's come back. Let's take a flight and come right back to New York. It's the Saints playing the Giants. The Saints are 5-point favorites in this game. Like, this is another what the hell game again. And this is the toilet bowl. Okay. I don't know. I will tell you 40.5 is way too low. That's all.
This is not the toilet bowl. This is the second runner-up for the toilet bowl. But we'll get to. There's a different toilet bowl.
Okay. Well, this is I don't even know, the cleanser for the toilet bowl. This is ass.
The bidet.
Yeah. This is the thing that shoots
bidet
water
bowl.
in your ass. Yeah. I took over 40.5. Both of these defenses, they allow 23 points per game, a lot of yards per game, and not a lot of forced turnovers. New Orleans is 15, respectable, but the Giants have 9. Okay. The Giants also suck. The Saints suck. But two sucky teams, let's watch them swing at each other. Why not? I don't think Drew Lock's that bad. I think a little bit of cleanup with the offensive line, especially against New Orleans, which I don't really trust their pass rush. If Drew Lock has an extra second or two, I think he can make some plays happen, score at least 17 points for this, and I think the Saints, their offense is just going to roll the Giants like everybody else does. I took over 40.5, just so it's exciting.
Yeah, I don't have a pick in this game, not because my team's playing in it or anything, but I honestly lean Giants +5 only because I see Drew Lock having his week where like he always has that one weird
For
like
no
week,
reason.
whatever. He did it last year against the Eagles when he was on the Seahawks, and like I mean, I see that being this game. I mean, you have no Taysom Hill, you still have no Rashid Shaheed who's out for season. Olave, I don't know what his deal is when he's coming back. If they just ruled him out for season, I don't know what. I mean,
Don't bring him
they're
back.
gonna throw to Juwan Johnson and Bub Means and MVS. MVS is gonna be good for a deep ball somewhere.
Randy Moss.
And yeah, I don't. So I mean, I don't know how this is. I honestly think the under might be in the play as well. Just two teams that are gonna. I mean, the Saints are probably just gonna try to not lose this game and keep the ball on the ground with Kamara and do some little dump offs here and there to Johnson and maybe try a deep ball every now and again MVS. And then the Giants are gonna do what the Giants do and just not do anything. And so, yeah.
If there's one thing about Luke, he loves himself a Saints under.
Oh, yeah.
It always. I think it's undefeated. I don't think I've lost to Saints under.
This is my ugliest bet of the week. I took Giants +5.5.
Jesus Christ.
I like the over 2. Looking at it now, it feels too low. These two teams are going to be able to run the ball on each other. The Saints' run defense is so bad. It's so bad. And the Giants, I feel like, are going to lean on that run game because they kind of have to. And at the same time, like you talked about with Drew Lock, I think I don't know if he'll have his week where he goes for like 300 and wins the game, but I think having that 1 week under his belt with extended rest, he's had more time to prepare. It's back home. And the reason he struggled against Dallas last week was because they were getting after him, like you said, New Orleans pass rush. It's not horrifically terrible, but it's not Dallas's level.
Well, Dallas.
The best part of their defense is their secondary.
Yeah, exactly.
Their secondary is pretty locked. Alontae Taylor is really good. Tyrann Mathieu, I'm not saying he's not still a stud, but he's a pretty good safety. You got a lot of good guys on this.
Yeah,
team.
and
A
like
lot of
I
good
don't.
young secondary too.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't blame Locke for those sacks because if you look at the Eagles game, one of the best offensive lines in football, the Cowboys sacked Jalen Hurts 6 times that game, and they still scored a ton.
Yeah, they got Micah back, and that pass rush has been like had their hair on fire. It's
Yeah.
just the rest of their team is
Yeah, I mean that Dallas pass rush gave Jaden Daniels a hard time too.
Exactly.
Man. He was constantly scrambling. So.
exactly. And then so now he gets to come back home with that extended rest with a strong. It's above average run game. It's underrated just because the rest of their team is not great. But like Tyrone Tracy's a good back. He is, and
He's a
Devin
good
Singletary, he's a good back. He's nothing special, but like he will do the job.
It's like the littlest of brothers of like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It's like
Yeah.
the slightest similarity.
It's like
but it's the same
we
thing.
have Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery at home, but we bought it from like Costco.
Right.
But yeah, so I think they'll be able to run the ball on New Orleans. The only thing that makes me nervous is that I think New Orleans will be able to run the ball on New York as well. That's why I also think I kind of like the over.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the only reason that makes me nervous is because I think, like I talked about, New York is going to dump down underneath. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to keep the ball away from the ball hawking safeties that New Orleans has, and so they're just going to take it easy. And I think that's a recipe to keep it within one score. I say it every time I fade the Saints, and I've done it a few times this year. As long as MVS doesn't go full Randy Moss, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. He can have his one moment, just not two.
Well, it'll lead us into old Tennessee. Jaguars are going into Tennessee. Trevor Lawrence is dead. That was the dirtiest hit of all time. The only thing I dislike about them beating the shit out of the defender was that they did it right on top of their QB. And two of them accidentally banged into Trevor Lawrence's head after he took a devastating head blow. You couldn't have at least pushed that guy backwards first and then fight him. You have to fight him on top of your injured quarterback. Incredible. But my ugliest pick of the week, I took Tennessee minus 3.5. Hear me out. Hear me out. Will Levis, not a terrible quarterback. Not terrible. Tennessee, pretty good defense. Sleeper defense like we talk about. Tennessee has been showing some promise until they got mollywopped by the Commanders. But besides that, let's go through some stats. We love these stats. Last 5 weeks for Tennessee. Okay. Passing touchdowns for Will Levis. 2-2-1-2-1. Pretty solid. Okay. QB rating. Here's where the stats come in. Last week, 84.5. The week before, 123.3. The week before, 84.7. The week before that, 127.4. Literally by stats, he's due to have a great day today. Sunday. I'm riding with Will Levis minus 3.5. We might see the Titans get their revenge and blow out the Jaguars.
I'm also gonna ride that, but the reason I think this line is only 3.5, I know that the Titans are ass and the Jags are mega ass, but nobody's officially ruled Lawrence out. He's not gonna play the rest of the season. There's no way he plays the rest of the season. Mac Jones is crazy that they backdoor cover us. Just crazy that they covered. But yeah, who's the freaking wide receiver that has like 4 touchdowns every week the last 4 weeks, and he had 2 this week? Westbrook Akine.
Oh yeah,
he's a monster.
He's goated,
he's not a monster.
He's goated.
He's a monster. He's been a monster the last 4
He's the
weeks.
next Amon-Ra St. Brown.
He's gonna give him some fits,
up,
man.
dude.
I
He's
mean,
probably
it's gonna
older.
be.
He's the next. He's up next. Unk is up next.
Yeah, I mean, I see that again. It might be the sucker pick. They might be suckering me in, but I don't think there's any way the Jags win the rest of the year. I'm gonna take a quick 5 seconds and see who the Jags have left on their schedule. At the Titans versus Jets at home, at the Raiders versus Titans again, or with the Titans at home. The first game is again at Titans, and then they end with the Colts.
To be honest, those are all kind of winnable.
Not for the Jaguars, dude.
Yeah, but they're not like if they were gonna.
If Trevor Lawrence doesn't play the rest of the season, not a chance. I mean, only team I see them beating. They might split with the Titans, and they maybe beat the Raiders. But I don't see the Jets. I don't see them losing to the Jets, unless I'm just an idiot.
Brother, the Jets could lose to anyone on the planet. Let's be honest.
No,
here.
the Jets are going to beat them by the line right now for that game next week is -3 Jets. The Jets are beating them by 2. Bro, the Jaguars, they need to all have a nice goodbye to Doug
They got
Peterson.
beat 56-3. That does not happen in NFL football.
Brother, the Titans lost by 50 also to the same team.
I don't think it was that much. What was the ending score?
Okay.
56-14. It was 56-14.
Close.
It's the we got shit on by the Lions Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the toilet bowl.
You got anything?
No, this game is to me unpredictable.
Dude, it was almost my mortal lock, to be honest.
Yeah, but Will Levis throws 1 pick 6, and this game could end 17-13 to the Jaguars. Let's be honest.
Good.
Like it's possible. It's very possible.
I think it's crazy that this game has the same amount of points predicted as the New Orleans Giants game.
Isn't that insane?
They're both 40.5.
Oh, no, I'm looking at 39.5 on DraftKings. A whole point?
Well, I would lean under in the Tennessee game and over in the Giants Saints game. So
Yeah.
that kind of makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
But either way, before he leads into this, it's the end of our afternoon slate, so you know what that means.
Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right,
All
pretty good
right.
performance. Not my
That's
best,
pretty
not my
nice.
best,
That's
but it was
pretty
nice.
nice.
It had a little
It was
smooth,
good.
a little smooth.
I give it like a 4.5 out of 5.
All right, I'll take
Out
that.
of
I'll
10
take
or
that.
5?
I'll take that.
Out of 5. Out
Okay.
of 5.
I've had 5 out of 5 performances, but that wasn't
For sure.
that was good.
That
That was a
wasn't singing.
4.5. A for effort.
I appreciate it. Thank you, fellas.
All right. So are we just
Alright.
going to get active here?
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold
but
on. You got too much dip on your chip.
I think I have it.
The most expensive game is by far and away the most expensive game. And the cheapest game is by far and away the cheapest game.
I mean,
Actually, not really. There's a couple that are it's kind of close.
Yeah, there's 2 that I'm
the most
staring
too
at.
expensive.
There's
You guess your
3.
cheapest. Oh, wait, what do you have a
There's
cheapest guess?
3 that are really
You
close.
throw it out.
My cheapest probably going to be Saints Giants.
Yeah.
It is not. That is the third cheapest.
Okay, so it's
That
probably this
game
one
is
then.
20. That game is $22.
Oh shit!
Let's
Oh,
go!
shit.
Come on, we got to go. We haven't been.
Oh shit!
You
MetLife!
can go rep the Saints for me. You go bet the Saints. Rep the
Hell no!
Saints.
I got a giant Saquon shirt.
Yeah, and I'll take the Giants. They'll probably hate you for that. Wear a Barkley jersey?
That's all I got. I'll put a duct tape over it and say Singletary.
Yeah. I'll just wear a Hurts jersey.
Yeah. I'm gonna shoot wild because if I don't guess that one, I'm gonna sound stupid, but I'm not gonna guess it. Tampa, Vegas.
Tampa at Vegas is not. And it's not. It's Vegas at Tampa, but it is not the cheapest.
Okay, so we have a combined guess,
Yeah.
right?
So that
I was thinking either that or that. Everybody
The
knows
cheapest 2 tickets are $8 apart, and they are cheaper than $22.
Oh, I thought he was gonna say $8.
So the cheapest ticket has to be like $12.
There's no way. There's no way.
Then
Phil's
it's this
cheapest.
one. Then
Yeah.
it's this one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Tennessee, Jacksonville.
Yep, that game is $11.
Let's go.
Yeah, to Nashville, where we.
$11
The
ticket.
second cheapest. The second cheapest is Cincinnati at Dallas for $19.
Wow.
I didn't even look at that. It kind of.
It's a Monday. one,
I've
right?
avoided looking at that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the Monday game.
Yeah.
All right, what's the most expensive on the docket?
That's got to be Green Bay, Detroit.
Yeah.
That is $201.
I thought it was
to
going to
go
be
to
like
that game.
$290.
The
201
second
for the
most
cheap.
expensive. The second most expensive is $136. Carolina at Philadelphia.
I wanna
Bro,
see the Super
Philly's
Bowl.
always
Yeah, dude, it's
expensive,
but
bro.
it's Philly.
Philly's
Everyone wants to go
always
because they're just gonna go and
expensive. It's
you know
always
your city.
expensive.
Put
It is
on, put
by
my
far and
city.
away always. It is by far and away always the top 3 most expensive ticket every
Yeah.
week to go.
All right. Well, that was a quick little segment there, but I mean, we hit it quick, so
Keep you on your toes.
yeah.
Hit it and quit it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Moving on. Seattle versus Arizona. Some people say history does not repeat itself, but me, I say history is repeating itself. Give me Seattle plus 2.5. I think Seattle should be favorited in this game. The last 3 weeks, they've been looking way better than Arizona. Kyler Murray, 0-2 since Call of Duty Warzone came out. 0-2. Seattle's fighting for the playoffs. Geno looks pretty good.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cardinals. Here's the little stat that you need to look at. 3 games. They scored 28, 29, 31. Call of Duty Warzone. The actual game drops. Cardinals score 6 and then 22. This is not a coincidence. Kyler Murray is grinding on Warzone. He doesn't give a shit about looking at plays. Seattle has 3 wins in their last 5 games. They look as complete as a team as ever. They're down 21-3 against the Jets. I know it's the Jets, but you're down by 18 points. And you come back and win that 26-21. Show me, or 26-24, excuse me. Show me the money. Seattle plus 2.5. Luke?
Yeah, I don't have anything in this game. I would like to say the under, but the under hit too freely last time, and I bet the over. So I want to say that Vegas isn't going to give it up that easy, but 44.5 is a goofy number. I don't know. I have 2.5 makes me lean Arizona just because 2.5 is at that point. If you're picking Seattle, you're pretty much just picking them to win that game. So I mean, I'm staying away from it. I don't really know. I don't really feel like I know the NFC West all that well. Need to get better acquainted.
Send him a letter. I don't.
Become pen pals.
We talked about it earlier, where if it was as easy to say the same thing is going to happen twice, it would indicate that.
Everybody would be millionaires. Everybody would be
Exactly.
millionaires.
And Arizona being favorited in this game, I took Arizona -2.5.
Ooh.
Seattle was down to the Jets by however many points. And you say they came back and won. It's a detriment to them just to say that you were down by that many points to the Jets. The Jets suck. That's what I have to say about that. I understand. Call of Duty, he stinks when Call of Duty comes. Give me a break.
It's statistics.
Sure,
2 years
man.
in a row.
He's having one of his best seasons this year. You
And
gotta
then
give him
COD
credit.
comes out and he
Yeah,
scores
too.
28 points in 2 weeks combined.
Whatever.
It's just kind of the NFL.
Seattle's run offense. I love Kenneth Walker. I have him on, I think, all of my fantasy teams. Their
He's
run
amazing.
offense is god awful because that offensive line sucks. Like, it's terrible. Arizona can't get after the court. Well, they've actually been getting to the quarterback better recently. They still don't have a great pass rush, but they've been getting, their pressure rate has gone up and up and up the last couple weeks. Shout out Jesse Luketa, Penn State.
Penn State.
He's been rushing the passer pretty well recently. They high key kind of outplayed Seattle last time. They went 0 for 2 in the red zone. You go 2 for 2 in that game, you win that game. It's that simple. And that was in Seattle. Now they get to get them at home. Revenge spot. Who did Arizona play last week? They played Minnesota, and they lost by 1. And it was because they kicked a field goal on the Minnesota 4-yard line with like 2 minutes left instead of just going for it. And I saw a whole thing about how like Greg Olson explained about how the implied aggressiveness goes into making those decisions late in the games. I would go listen to what he said because I thought it made perfect sense. But they high key outplayed Minnesota for most of the game, and they high key outplayed Seattle last time they played. Seattle can't run the ball. Arizona, if you're going to beat them, you got to be able to run the ball pretty easily. Arizona outran Seattle last game that they played. They get them at home now. Revenge spot. Give me Arizona -2.5.
Great explanation, Sean.
Gracias, senor.
All right. Oh, let's hit some casinos in LA. Rams. The Buffalo Bills, the juggernauts, are going into LA. 4.5-point favorites on the road and over under 49.5. I want to stay away because I just want to watch Josh Allen play. But I mean, if the Eagles are walking in there and beating them, 37-20 with a late touchdown, I think the Bills beat them 37-20. I think 4.5 is probably, it was almost my mortal, but I'm just double thinking. This is a spot where the Rams will just come out of nowhere. I mean, the Bills just came off a huge win in a blizzard. The Rams need this win, and this could be a perfect spot for the Rams to even win this game. But I stayed away. I really like the Bills, but I'll just watch the game.
Yeah, I got the over in this game. I think that the Bills are a juggernaut on offense, and the Rams are fighting for a playoff spot, just hoping, that they can sneak in there. I think Nakua and Kupp are going to be used a lot in this game, and I expect Kyron to, try to get it going in this game. I could see him having an all right game. Kind of a little bit of I don't want to say a letdown spot, but at the same time, I think Stafford around this time of year tends to heat up a little bit. They're coming off, I wouldn't say a nice win off the Saints, but they're going to be able to utilize their pass defense a little bit better. I would say that's one of the. I may be speaking on my ass here, but I think if you were to say the Bills have a weakness, I would say that they're going to get passed a little bit over this game. So 49.5, I think is, I like that number. I think that's typically an under number, and I think it covers a lot of key, but I think this is an over game.
Yeah, this game's tough for me. I mean, the metrics like LA, they do. But the way you beat them, we saw what Philly did to them. You just get after the quarterback and you establish up front. If you can slow down their pass rush with a strong offensive line, and you can get after. It's about beating them in the trenches because it's hard to beat them on the outside with Nakua and Cooper Kupp. And their secondary isn't that great, but they downplay that by getting after your quarterback repeatedly. Having Josh Allen be able to move away from those young pass rushers like Jared Verse. I love Jared Verse. Did you see him? We might have talked about it after that Eagles game, but when he ran over Mailata in that game, holy Jesus, man. That dude has power out of his ass. I stayed away because the metrics point me towards LA, but I also think that Josh Allen is going to be able to downplay that pass rush and expose their secondary, which it's not the best in the league. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. And then on the Rams side, it's all I think it's just all I think the X factor in this game is Buffalo's pass rush. That's the thing that I keep coming back to. So I end up staying away. I do kind of like the over though. I think that's a good shout.
All right. Well, get ready. Call me crazy. Bears +4 against the San Francisco 49ers. Hear me out, okay? San Fran, their season's over. They have no chance of winning and making playoffs. I mean, it's slim to none, but why would you even want to make playoffs? Purdy's still battling some shoulder problem. He looked like a chicken with his head cut off trying to navigate the pocket this past week. The Bears just fired
It was
Eberflus.
snowing.
I know, but the Bears just fired Eberflus. This is the biggest, okay, it was his fault spot of all time. They need to come out and win this game so they don't look like a shitty organization. This is the biggest bounce back spot of all time. You get a brand new coach. We saw it with New Orleans. They get a brand new coach. They're all fired up. You know, this guy loves us. This guy gets us. They come out and win.
Jets did it too.
Jets did it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be safe, take Chicago +4, but I would not be surprised if they win this game and just completely upset San Fran, even at home. I love the Bears here.
Yeah, I got Bears at +3.5 this morning. I know it's not 4, but same thing for all the reasons that you said. 49ers are in the depths of hell, and it's kind of like that, you know, playing for that new guy, playing behind you. I mean, the Bears, like, again, they played Lions well in its divisional matchup, and it's Thanksgiving and all that other good jazz. But, I mean, I think this is a spot where they can do pretty well. I mean, 49ers are down McCaffrey, and they're down Jordan Mason. I know you like Isaac Guerrero a lot, Hawk, and I know he's a pretty good, viable back. But when you're down Christian McCaffrey, it's night and day difference of a player. So it's going to be – it has Bears written all over it. I'm surprised that line moved towards the 49ers' favor at all.
Yeah, I didn't push the button, but I feel like you guys hit the nail on the head here. I will not hit the San Francisco button. I will say that. Like, it's just not going to happen. It doesn't feel like the right side. If it happens, it happens, but they got the coach aspect. You lost your best player on offense. You have lost however many games, and it feels like the season's over. The Bears, like, they're playing better football. It's just these stupid things that keep losing them these games. It's not like the talent is there. I mean, they were 4-1 or 4-2 for a reason. This isn't a bad roster necessarily. It's stupid little things over and over again. But at the same time, if I hit the button, then it's a threesome and it's gonna lose.
Yeah.
So I might have to bite the bullet for the team and not take it. And I also might just bite the bullet and not take it because I don't want to fade Isaac Guerrero in his first start. They also just signed Israel Abanikanda, another guy really liked out of the draft. So they're down to their third and fourth string running backs, and they're probably my two favorite they have on the roster. So that's usually a bad sign. But I don't know if I can fade them. They're kind of my dudes. But at the same time, Chicago is the right side. Don't know if I can hit the button for your sake, for my sake, for everyone's sake.
Thank you, Hawk.
I'll lay down my life on the line for you guys.
Man.
Don't say I never did anything for you.
To this day. Probably the game of the week besides Packers Lions, obviously. Chargers Chiefs. And let's talk about this. Sunday night. I've waited all day for Sunday night at 8:20 p.m.
Oh, nice. No, I won't say that.
Chargers are going into Kansas City against the Chiefs. And there's a line here that really does not make sense to me, and it's the over-under 43. Call me crazy, but I took the over at 43. I think this is a no-brainer. The Chiefs almost just lost another game by one possession. They barely won a game by one possession. Okay? Chargers played a kind of a bad game last week. This is the biggest wake-up call for two teams of all time. Kansas City keeps winning games by one possession against bad teams. Wake-up call. Chargers had a bad game when they're supposed to be on the up and up. I think both of these teams come out hot, and I think this game easily goes over 43. Luke?
Yeah, I don't have a pick in this game. I lean Chargers, but at the same time, the Chiefs have made a deal with the devil, so I'm not putting them. I'm not putting Chiefs on banned, but I feel like my moral compass is telling me I should ban them.
Dude, they sold their souls. They had.
You won't have.
Cincinnati is going into Dallas. The cheapest, shittiest tickets. You know what? I'll save the synopsis. I'll let Sean talk. Sean, go ahead. I'll sit back.
Do either of you have a pick?
I do, but I want to hear you talk first.
I don't, but I lean Cincinnati -5.
So do I.
I don't have a pick.
Come here.
And then we'll go into our mortals.
You guys are coming over here. The Bengals defense, I said it was the worst unit in football. It's the worst football unit I've ever watched in the history of watching the NFL. Statistically, it might not be. They are so broken in every aspect. I've never Trey Hendrickson might deserve MVP because I've never seen one player on the defensive line have to carry a defense as hard as that guy does on a week-to-week basis. Watching that Steelers game, I watched it. I listened to it on the radio for some of it during the live game because I was driving Maddie to the airport. And then being the absolute dumbass that I am, I'm like, let me watch it again and see what actually happened. So much worse the second time.
It's true fandom to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I really just wanted to see how it could have possibly happened. I was listening to the radio. I was listening to the Bengals radio announcers, and they're like, "Oh, there's a dump off. Oh, there he goes. Oh, Najee breaks 2 tackles. Oh, it's 14 yards." And that happened legitimately. I think Najee Harris had like 5 catches for 71 yards, and his average depth of target was -3 yards. I've never seen or heard. He had 70 yards. Jalen Warren had 50 yards, and Cordero Patterson had 30 yards. So that's like 180 yards right there, strictly on running backs. Maybe not 180, but it felt like it. It was. I might have the stat. It was a lot. It was a lot. I've never seen. I posted the stat on Twitter. It blew my mind. The Bengals gave up 271 yards after the catch on Sunday, which was the most by any team this season, by like 20. It was the most that the Steelers have had since 2018, week 2, and that's Ben Roethlisberger. It was the most passing yards the Steelers have had in a game since Ben Roethlisberger in 2018. And it would the 271 yards they gave up after the catch would have been the second most pass yards that the Steelers have had this year total. And then they had 410 on Sunday. It blows my mind. And then I have to go on Twitter the next day and see Shannon Sharp try to explain how Joe Burrow didn't play well enough to win the game because he turned the ball over a couple times, even though it was strictly because every single time the Steelers touched the ball, they put the ball in the end zone. Geno Stone, I'm begging you. Either remember how to play football or never play football ever again. I hate calling out players directly. I like being the positive guy about players. You see me with Anthony Richardson. You've seen me with even Isaac Guerrero, 5th round running back for the 49ers. Geno Stone, never touch a football field ever again. He's genuinely, I've never seen someone miss so many tackles. There was a toss play to Najee on the 10-yard line. He's running along the goal line to try to get him, and Ben Skoranek, you know, the guy who used to play receiver for the Rams, who is basically a glorified blocking tight end, who's now a Steeler, blocks him, and he rolls and tumbles pretty much out of the back of the end zone. Oh man, it's like Sam Hubbard is a corpse walking on the field. He's unbelievably useless. And now Orlando Brown is coming off an injury. He can't move. So the offense, like we say, oh, the Bengals offense is top 5 in the NFL. Statistically, sure. They have 4 good players when T. Higgins plays. They really do. It's something I've never seen. On both sides of the ball, it's something I've never seen before. One is getting carried so heavily by pretty much 2 players, but 2 other ones are like capable of playing NFL style football. And the other side has 1, and he can't carry a whole unit. I'll save it I'll save the rest. I have more to say, but I don't want to bore you guys because I've talked the Bengals. It's the same conversation every week. Changes have to be made. Stop letting your best players walk out the door. Please, for the love of God. You see DJ Reader have 2 sacks on Thanksgiving. You watch Jesse Bates be arguably the best safety in football all year. Now, maybe T. Higgins walks, and then Trey Hendrickson walks. And then how many good players do you have left? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. The rest are, then you have probably like 2 or 3 that are NFL caliber, and everyone else sucks. That's like, it's it. That's it. It's unbelievable. Yeah, and now they play Dallas. You know what? Whatever, man. Whatever. The season's over, by the way. So, like, I know I said it was over a while ago, but, like, genuinely, like, there's no point in trying to win unless you're trying to tank your draft pick. That's literally the only thing you can do at this point.
Are you a supporter of Tankathon, or do you want them to win every game at this point?
I don't want them to tank. I don't want them to tank, but I don't want them to win, like, how many games are left? 5. I don't want them to win 3 out of the next 5 and pick 14th. There's no use in doing that at this point.
So it's either lose every game or win every game.
Yeah, I mean you can win 1, but like this pick has to be top 10. There's no use in not picking outside of the top 10. For the love of God, give me Abdul Carter in stripes, please. I don't ask for much, please. What's your pick, Sam? Just tell me.
I'm a little conflicted, to be honest with you. I was like, oh, the over is a surefire thing, which it still might be. But I was also looking at the under just because of the Cowboys pass rush, which is why Cowboys plus 5.5 isn't terrible. I don't know, because their pass rush is incredible. Bengals offensive line is kind of dog shit, but I don't know. I think the safe thing might be the over. Their defense is terrible, and Joe Burrow is literally Tom Brady. So I think an over is a safe. I didn't touch anything just to not piss you off. So I would lean over. Check Twitter. I'll probably take the over.
More to lock time.
I think the over is a decent play in that game, by the way.
I think so.
Yeah, because I think that they'll try to lean on Chase Brown a little bit just to, like, because he's been playing. He's one of, like, the other, like, good NFL players that they have on their roster. There's like one of
I don't think Gesicki's bad. I think Gesicki's a good player.
Gesicki's exactly what he is, and that's fine. But like your tight end, that's basically a slot receiver. It's like he can only provide so much to a team. It's like he's not a yak guy. He's just a toss it up to. He's a one trick pony that he's really good at with his one trick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone else is a negative one trick pony. Go ahead, Sam. Give him Super Mortal before I keep yapping.
I have my mortal on hand.
Luke, go ahead. I'll let you go first. I've been going first this whole time. I'll let Luke go first.
I have Miami and New York Jets over 45.5. I think that the Jets seem to have some bright spots on offense in that first half against Seattle. I know that doesn't speak to a whole lot. Miami is going to score a lot in this game. Get right spot after Green Bay. You just know that McDaniels is literally just, I don't know why I just said whatever. He's going to air out the ball. He's going to want to put up as many points as possible. A-Chain's going to eat. Yeah, a lot of points are going to get scored. The Jets probably get a backdoor cover, I would hope. I'd hope not. I hope that it's just a barn burner, which I could definitely see it being. But, yeah, over in the Miami-New York Jets game.
Sean, you want to give us yours? It's an exciting one.
Yeah, my mortal lock this week is Kansas City minus 3.5. I feel like I've been waiting to try to fade the Chargers, and they looked so bad last week. They really did. I don't know how the hell they won. I know how they won that game. It's 2 words, Kirk Cousins. But like I think Michael Penix plays that. I think anyone else plays that game that's like competent, and Chargers lose that game. It's in Kansas City. It's a smaller spread for the first time in a while. They keep barely winning these games against bad teams. I think that this is a spot where the Chargers aren't as good as we think they are. Their defense has been somewhat struggling. Besides, I mean, last week they gave up yards to Atlanta. It's just Kirk Cousins kept throwing interceptions. I think that
in the red
exactly. So I think Kansas City's going to be able to run the ball on this Chargers defense. I think that's an underrated aspect. They got the Devil Magic at home in the Devil's Lair. I think Mahomes is pissed off because they keep barely winning these games. I think this is a spot where they come out and they try to assert their dominance over a team that's chasing them. This is a big game. This isn't a spot where you overlook the Chargers at all. Like this game, if they lose this game, all of a sudden the AFC West is like, it's not in question, but it's like it becomes a race. I think this is a spot where they say, "Hey, this is a huge goddamn game for us. We got to come out and show out." And it's a bounce back spot for them, not covering however many weeks in a row. I think this is a spot where they come out and cover, and it's already moved to 4 in some spots, -3.5. Mahomes, please, you've beaten me so many times. Just help me out once.
Love it. I did the same thing again where I accidentally said mine. Bears +4 is my mortal lock. Has Bears written all over it, like me and Luke said. I don't think San Fran's going to be able to run or throw the ball really because they're going to rely on their third and fourth string running backs. The Bears have a good defense. The Bears are not a bad team. They're plagued by bad coaching and bad decisions week in and week out. And this is the week. They have a new coach. Oh yeah, like this is the week. Caleb Williams isn't a terrible quarterback. I was wrong. I'll say that right now. I said Caleb Williams is ass. He's not that bad. He's got questionable decisions, but he's a rookie. That's fine. I was too hard on him. I'm looking at him like an Aaron Rodgers, where an Aaron Rodgers is just ass. He's proved everything in his career, and he's still trying to play. Regardless, Aaron Rodgers, the Bears +4 is I'm going to put money on it, but I'll say
I hope so.
gamble responsibly, please. Mortal lock doesn't mean, hey, let me take out a loan to put on this game. It just means you're very sure of this game. +4 Bears. It's gotten rid of Eberflus is gone. He's the plague doctor. These guys were walking around with ailments and other shit, and he's not giving them anything. He's just watching them die. There's good talent on that team. So +4 Bears, mortal lock. But that takes us to the end of the show. Thanks for listening. Tune in on Twitter. Always like, follow, subscribe. Our subscriptions are free. Some of these guys are trying to charge you money to watch them. Oh my God, get out of here.
Losers.
Just like, follow, subscribe. We love you. Anything else, fellas?
Weaver, hit us with the @
I do not. Follow us on Twitter, Not So Hot Takes 2_. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, Not So Hot Takes. You can find that at Not So Hot Takes, 2 S's to end. Be putting that out on our Instagrams and stuff every week with our links to our stuff. Just check it out. They're also in the description of each Spotify and YouTube, so follow it.
Yeah. I'll leave you with this. I know you're not a Bengals fan. I know you're not. There's not many of us. So enjoy the football when you got it, man. It's going by quick. We're almost there, which is
we're almost gonna have to be talking about NBA, hockey.
It feels like we just started it all.
It's crazy. So enjoy it while we got it, man. Unless I get maybe your team, maybe you lost a couple bets.
Maybe you're a Jets fan.
Maybe you're a Jets fan. Maybe you're a Bengals fan. Maybe you're even a Bears fan. Maybe you date. Maybe your boyfriend's a Bengals fan and you live in Chicago, surrounded by Bears fans. I don't know if it gets much worse than that.
You're an Eagles fan.
Well, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Enjoy the football. Don't let gambling ruin your enjoyment of football. If it does, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, man. Gamble responsibly as well. Don't bet any money that you can't afford to lose.
Right. That's why you take out a loan because you can afford a loan. I'm kidding.
A 1-unit loan. 1 unit.
$10 loan.
Whoa.
No, I'm sorry.
We don't unit shame. We don't unit shame.
$10,000 loan.
We don't unit shame.
Put it on the Bears +4. We'll be seeing.